Extremist movie debate. Extremist movie debate. Extremist movie debate.
It's the Extremist Movie Debate. And tonight, we're talking La La Land.
I am Joe.
I'm Ethan, and one of us is going to love it, one of us is going to hate it.
Let the coin decide their fate.
I love it.
I hate it. Sucks.
Perfect. And this movie has a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. Joe, since you hate this movie, this first question is for you. This comes from Gary M Kramer of Salon.com. He says, La La Land is a worthy showcase for the magnificent Stone's talents, and she is heartbreaking throughout. Can you briefly speak on Emma Stone and her character in this movie? You have 1 minute.
What's so frustrating about Emma Stone's character is like she can't get it through her head that like he's not going to change, and she can try to push Ryan Gosling's character as far as she can, but he's not going to change. People do not change. It's inherent in human beings to just stay stagnant and never change. So the fact that she's pushing so hard and putting so much effort forth for him to change is really frustrating on a character level. Emma Stone, she was fine, I guess. I mean, she can't really sing. I mean, you could hear the auto-tune while you're watching the movie, and that's frustrating. I went to see a musical movie. I didn't go to see Kanye West's 88 and Heartbreaks. 808s and Heartbreaks for like on screen. It's frustrating. It's annoying. I really wish she would have done a better job. She's got this whole like cutesy thing going, and that's kind of irritating. But I guess that's her thing. It's just not for me, maybe.
Okay, Ethan, you have 30 seconds to respond.
I don't think at any point was she trying to get Ryan Gosling to change. I think that throughout the entire movie, they are trying to encourage each other to follow their dreams, which is what they always wanted to do, and they are trying to get each other to take that next step. It's not change, it's further. And I think that that's an important distinction to make, that she wants him to open up a jazz club because he loves jazz so much and do the thing that he loves, not compromise, not follow some other pursuit. Even she's talking to her parents, I think, at one point, and they're like, well, when's he gonna do that? When he gets the money. And she's super supportive, and he overhears it as a negative.
Ethan,
that's on him.
Cut you off there. I'm sorry. Joe, you have 15 seconds to respond.
To actually pursue your dreams, you have to have incentive, and if you don't have incentive, then that's a character change that she's trying to push him. You can't just create incentive out of nothing, and that's a change in your human being. That's in your personality is persistence, and he doesn't have that.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, I'll concede that there's a change in the quality of life that she is trying to do. Not in his actual life, but in, what he is striving for, trying to enact a change in order to give him what he wants, what they both admit to themselves and each other that they want.
Okay, thank you, Ethan. And this next question is actually for you. This comes from Molly Lake of Missoula Independent. She says, I prefer the Emma Stone from Superbad and that early Donuts commercial when she had some meat on her bones and I was the only one who noticed her talent. And I want my Ryan Gosling less love-struck a la The Notebook and more emotionally distant and moody as in Lars and the Real Girl.
Or Drive.
Or Drive. And it seems like this woman is really upset that,
And body shaming.
that the characters that she wants are not in this movie. But let's talk about Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling's characters as you were, like how...
Oh, and not their level of attractiveness?
Yeah, and how they contributed to the movie and not to what this woman wants. You have a minute.
Yeah, they contributed to this movie. They both sing and dance, and they do a fine job. They work their asses off for it.
Don't interrupt, Joe.
Emma Stone, I believe, has done Broadway before, so this is fairly familiar for her. Ryan Gosling, I'm not so sure, but he was able to learn piano in order to do one takes on entire piano bits, and they work out great because this movie is able to show how that symbolizes different contexts of the scenes that the songs are present in, but also how you can adjust the lighting and the mood for those scenes in order to do it one take, and he's willing to take that step in order to make the movie elevate to that next level. If it was just cutaways, it wouldn't mean so much for his character, and it wouldn't mean so much for the artistic merit of the movie. And so learning these different things do add to the movie. Both actors step up and they pull that off just fine. Absolutely.
Okay.
Stop talking about she's too skinny. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Thank you, Ethan. Joe, you have 30 seconds to respond.
Yeah, anybody can throw colors up on a screen and call it artistic. Skittles does it with every commercial they make. And on top of that, like, the characters are just boring. They're just these same, like, tried and true archetypes, just trying to push each other forward to change each other's lives and make your lives better. Like, we've seen this movie over and over and over again. And as far as, like, artistic quality, like, the artist came out, what, 4 years ago? This movie is basically just the artist with music in it. And the artist was much more well done and a much different kind of movie.
Thank you, Joe. Ethan, you have 15 seconds to respond.
Look, if you're talking about the characters being a dime a dozen, I think that's a moot point because the movie goes out of its way in the first fucking musical number to show that these characters, there are a million of them in this one concentrated city, and that is kind of the joke of the movie is, you know, these characters find each other, latch onto each other, and use each other to further their dreams.
Thank you, Ethan. Joe, you have a final 15 to respond.
Oh, I didn't realize this movie was a comedy that I was supposed to laugh at people having dreams. People having dreams, there's just a dime a dozen dreamers and nobody's going to make it to anything? I guess we should all just be nihilists.
Oh boy. Okay, we're gonna open up the floor for 4 minutes for just a back and forth and go.
This movie's a piece of shit.
Well, I disagree.
No, it's really, the second half of this movie, all you're getting is just like this back and forth of like them trying to push each other and the other one being like, oh, I don't really want to do this. I don't understand you. I don't understand being in a relationship. Relationships are hard. And then there's the last 10 minutes where they do kind of a cool dance number. And like really, like for an hour of a second half of a movie, if you only have 10 minutes worth of stuff that's actually like somewhat appealing, then the rest of it's just it leads to nothing. Like people have given up at that point.
What it is okay, the movie, no, it's not as showy and glamorous as the first half of the movie, but I think that that's making a statement that this is a world of all these people are dreaming for the biggest and the best, and when they're, you know, still dreaming and working on their own dreams, all of a sudden everything is wonderful, everything is happy, and then they start focusing on each other's dreams, and all of a sudden life is hard, relationships are hard, love is hard, and all of a sudden it's just gritty and dark, and people aren't as fucking happy.
But that's what makes it so frustrating.
It ends up with they separate and they go focus on their own dreams again, and all of a sudden you get another 10-minute dance number.
You try to elevate this movie to where it's like tongue-in-cheek and like winking at the audience being like, oh, look at this is Hollywood, and then you try to like boil it down
I don't
to like
think it's tongue-in-cheek.
And then you like boil it down to like this character study basically, or this relationship study, and those two like tones juxtapose against each other, and it doesn't work. They don't mesh well, so you have this uneven movie. It's kind of like Nocturnal Animals. You have this uneven movie that is not working, so you just have a half of a movie just kind of sandwiched together and just being like, this is a whole movie. It's just really artsy because we changed tone halfway through. No. And that's just shitty. It's lazy filmmaking. It's lazy writing. All he did was throw a bunch of like gels on the screen to make it colorful. And
I think it's a way to show the depth of characters and show the depth of that these people. The people who inhabit LA and the people who dream and chase their dreams, they do have depth, and they can go from one note to another.
And all this is just perpetuating the idea that all the boomers told us as we grew up is follow your dreams because it's going to work out for you. Well, guess what? It's fucking not. It's
works
not
out
gonna,
for them.
It's not. Yeah, it does, and that's what I'm saying. It perpetuates that problem
because they work hard.
You're not going to
because she puts forth the money to do a one-man show, because he puts forth the money to lease a restaurant and start a jazz club.
It does not matter how much money
he gives up his relationship to tour the country to earn the money for his jazz club. She gives up the relationship in order to pursue her dream because they work hard. That's what the boomers tell us, is you stupid millennials, work hard and you'll get your dreams. That's what they do in this movie, so
and that's
fuck
the
off.
issue, because it doesn't work. It doesn't matter how hard you work, because the deck is stacked against you, and sometimes you're just bound to fail, and there's nothing you can do about it. It doesn't matter how hard you work, it doesn't matter how big you dream, you're just going to fail.
Well, if you
and
go
you just
into
have
this
to come
movie
to terms with that.
as you hate yourself and you hate all of life, yeah, all right, fine, but you're never going to be changed by a movie, so why are you watching movies?
You know what I will be? Happier in the long run. Keep those expectations low,
I
baby.
disagree. They're pretty happy in this movie, and they work.
Well, of course they're happy, because it all works out for them. Everything works.
Because they work hard for it. Nothing happens by happenstance in this movie.
All John Legend does is go, you want to play keys? He's like, okay. Oh, he's a millionaire all of a sudden.
No. See, what happens is he knew John Legends because he was... John Legends, plural. Because he already knew him because he was working his ass off, working at the keyboard and working at piano, that they already knew of each other. He had already made those connections and already done all
I got that.
Okay, great, wonderful. So now he goes back and he's like, I don't really want to work with this guy because I don't really like him, but I'm going to sell out my values and my own desires because I know I can make money off of him, and I'm going to make that sacrifice.
See,
and then he comes to find out,
that would have been a more interesting movie.
That's what
If the
happens in this
Yeah,
movie.
but then all he has to do is be like, well, good thing I have these millions of dollars so I can open this very successful jazz club and be happy and content with my choices in life.
To make those millions, he has to work hard in the beginning, and then he has to sacrifice his own merit, his own integrity, and
For
his
like,
own
what,
relationship.
a year? Six months? Like, he's barely on tour and he makes millions of dollars to open up a
He's
very
an uber
successful jazz
hipster. It
club.
means a lot to him.
Okay. Let's talk about how we really feel. Joe, why don't you start?
Yeah, no, this is good. I don't know if it's quite as good as like the Academy and like Globes and
not.
everything. Yeah, as much as they're making out, but it's enjoyable, and I really did like the last 15 minutes. It has a whole Last Temptation of Christ, like the last like musical number is just Last Temptation of Christ, which I thought was really great. It's got a pitch perfect ending. Loved the ending. Essentially. They look at each other, so they both followed their dreams, but they had to do it separately. So to attain their dreams, they had to do it separately. So the last scene, she goes into his jazz club, and they make eye contact, and they have the big dance number as if they had stayed together and still achieved everything they achieved. But then it cuts back to them, and they're both, you can see that they're sad, but they're content in their choices, basically.
And kind of happy for each other.
Yeah, exactly. Happy for each other, so there's that trade-off. So it's a really, really great end.
It is, and it has a really great beginning, too. You got two musical numbers. I mean, the trailer and all the marketing
Tremendous.
promises this fluff musical, and it delivers like crazy in the first 2 minutes, the first two numbers and the first 10 minutes. And then it trails off a lot, and you have characters that are not really, I mean, the actors who don't really do song and dance very well, that's not their forte, and I feel like that, I'm sorry, is clear in this movie. You know, they sound kind of airy and forced. And
You're talking Emma Stone.
Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, not amazing. He does a great piano job.
Well, Ryan Gosling's actually in a band, so he knows how to play piano and guitar and everything.
Okay, well, he does a great job at that. Singing and dancing, not so much.
I like his voice.
But the point is that all stops after 30 minutes, and then you have an hour to an hour and 10 minutes.
So did you not
where
like-
nothing happens except it's like 500 Days of Summer, where they're just bickering in their apartment over some cool lighting, talking about what their relationship means. And that's fine, that's a good movie, but that movie already exists. It's like literally every other indie movie that's out there. So fine, but it's sandwiched in between these other, you know, yes, you can look at it as a contrast of these characters have depth, the dreamers can, you know, have different shades to their personalities. I think there's a better way to do that.
Can I throw in my 2 cents for a
Please.
second? Okay, yeah. No, I agree with you guys. Like, it starts off really strong, and then kind of trails off, and then, like, ends strong. 2 of my favorite things about the movie were, like, when Ryan Gosling starts to jam with John Legend again, and he thinks it's going to be, you know, like, classical jazz, like, he plays, and then it goes into this, like, electronic, like, poppy jazz, and you kind of see that moment of, like, internal debate of, do I want to do this and make money, or do I want to, like, keep my morals? And then it shows him, and it goes on to, like, the photo shoot, and it's like, oh, he kind of sold out because this is what he hated about music, and now he's doing the thing he hates. And I thought that was really, like, interesting to watch. And then the second thing with the ending of, Emma Stone and him, they have the dance sequence where their lives are together, and then it cuts to them kind of giving a knowing nod and smiling and kind of separating. I really appreciated that we don't see that a lot in, like, mainstream releases. We don't get a lot of kind of sad, bittersweet endings. If this was any other movie, it would be, you know, they would have a moment where Emma Stone walks away from her husband, goes to Ryan Gosling, or they talk about their relationship, how I still love you, blah, 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 and then they would maybe separate, but still they would have that moment of, like, closure, and this is just like, nope, like, we have our own lives now. Good to see ya. Move on. And I think that's what I appreciated most about the movie, because it was very kind of out of the norm, I guess you could say. And yeah,
It's like Singing in the Rain without the last 10 minutes of Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
If Singing in the Rain ended with Debbie Reynolds singing behind the curtain and nobody opens the curtain and everybody's career takes off and Debbie Reynolds is just never noticed ever,
And also,
that's kind of what this movie would be.
I also hate anyone who isn't now sees La La Land and says, well, I don't like musicals, but that was a good movie. But it's like, this is pretty much just, you know, a run-of-the-mill musical, so you might be watching the wrong musicals if you hate musicals but love this, that would be like, oh, I hate, stage plays and musicals, but I love Hamilton. It's like, shut up. Anywho, I digress.
It's fine. I'd give it a 7 lightning strikes, a little bit of thunder. I don't think about it too much.
I'll give it 7 and almost no thunder.
Yeah, I'll go in and also agree. 7. A little bit of thunder, just because I've thought of that tune that Ryan Gosling plays in the end that starts the dance sequence. That's been stuck in my head a lot.
I put that as my my Oscar in the Oscar pool. I picked that as original song, so we'll see.
Oh, cool! Brag about it.
I'm gonna win so many moolahs.
Moonlight's gonna win.
I'm not a gambler because I'm a Christian. Where can we find you guys online?
You can find us on Twitter at Extremist Movie, or you can find us on Facebook at Extremist Movie Debate, or you can email us at extremistmoviedebate@gmail.com.
And you can also like and subscribe to our channel and leave us a comment below. And if you have a movie request you'd like us to do in the future, or if you have a question you'd like us to ask about said movie, go ahead and write that as a comment, and Unpaid Intern Jeff will read it on the movie when we review it.
And on that, thank you and good night.